External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar had a direct conversation with the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio to lodge a strong protest over the attacks by the U.S. Navy in the Gulf that killed 3 Indian mariners on board foreign flagged ships. Now, in a post on X, Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that lethal actions against commercial shipping are not justified. And this conversation comes days after 3 Indian crew members were killed in a U.S. strike on the Palau-flagged tanker MT Settebello off the coast of Oman that has triggered a sharp response from New Delhi. The vessel, which had 24 Indian crew members on board, out of which 21 were rescued, while 3 missing sailors later were confirmed dead. Following this incident, India has also lodged a protest with Washington and has summoned the USCDA in New Delhi at least on 2 occasions. Now, let's tell you exactly what has transpired in the Gulf of Oman amid the renewed attacks by Iran and US. Now, US striking as far as when it comes to foreign flagship which had Indian seafarers on board. One of the incidents that happened, 3 reported incidents that have happened in about 4 days. MT Settebello, which was a Palau-flagged ship, a commercial vessel. The reported attack happened on the 8th of June. All crew members, Indian crew members, were safe. Then comes MT Settebello, another Palau-flagged ship, and the attack that happened on the 9th of June in the Gulf of Oman. 3 Indian sailors, mariners who were killed, while 21 of them were rescued. Then comes a Guinea-Bissau ship, which is MT Jalbir. That also came under attack on the 11th of June, and this is also near Oman, where all 20 Indian crew members were rescued.
When this particular attack happened on the ship Settebello, we lodged a strong protest with the American side. We called in the American CDA, and he was conveyed our deepest concerns on the ongoing incidents of attacks. These attacks came from the US Navy that is stationed there. The 3 ships that have been involved in the incidents are foreign flagged. 2 of them are Palau flagged, and the 3rd one, which came under attack today, is Guinea flagged. So that is, they are not Indian owned ships, they are all foreign flagged ships.
Let's connect with Shinjoy on this. And Shinjoy, this was necessary, of course, when it comes to summoning of the chargé d'affaires, the US diplomat, on 2 occasions, but taking it to the highest levels, having a direct conversation of these attacks that have now taken place on Indian crew members, which was clearly avoidable, is something which India has lodged a protest with the United States.
Yes, External Affairs Minister Jaishankar spoke, picked up the phone, called Marco Rubio and said that this was not acceptable, and he protested. The point now is that India has taken this up. India does not believe that there can be attacks on merchant ships, ships which are not armed, ships carrying civilians, and in this case, Indian citizens. We know that 3 Indian citizens have been killed in one of the attacks. There were 24 Indian crewmen on that ship, and 3 were killed. 21 were rescued, and India has thanked Oman for it, and 3 Indian citizens were killed in the attack. Now, very clearly, this is not something India is happy with. You've rightly said that the American CDA was called in twice, and Prime Minister and External Affairs Minister and Marco Rubio, the US Secretary of State, have had a chat. So it's very important. America may be a very friendly country. America may be a strategic partner. But if there is a difference of opinion, then at least that has to be conveyed. If there is a protest to be made, then it has to be conveyed. And that is exactly what has been done.
Absolutely. And this was necessary. I mean, coming at a time when these foreign flagged vessels, however, have Indian crew members on board, and they have now come under repeated attacks, is something which India has now lodged its protest to the highest levels. Let's, in the meantime, also take a look and talk about the update that is now coming, because earlier reports were suggesting that another strike, a 4th foreign flagged vessel, has come under attack with Indian crew members on board. But this is a clarification that has now been issued on part of the Ministry of External Affairs, saying that they spoke with the master of the vessel, Liaki Freedom, who has now confirmed that all crew members are safe and that the reported information of a strike is false. And this is coming in from the Ministry of External Affairs on the reports of a vessel with Indian crew that has been hit in a military strike. So that information was incorrect. That was played out earlier, as far as previously reports were suggesting that in the course of 1 week, at least 4 such incidents have taken place. So Srinjoy, this clarification was necessary and also coming at a time which puts an end to all speculation. So as far as MT Liaki is concerned, Liaki freedom, it is safe. The crew members are safe.
So three ships attacked, 3 Indian citizens killed, and all the others are safe. So that's a great relief that everyone else is safe, and there have been not more than 3 attacks.
But is there something which the Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Shipping and Ports have also been doing? Srinjoy, keeping an eye out as far as when it comes to foreign flagged vessels, yes, but there are Indian nationals, Indian citizens on board. So what is being done to confirm their safety?
That is why External Affairs Minister spoke with Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State. That is why the U.S. CDA was called in twice in 2 days by the MEA, by Additional Secretary Americas, to lodge a protest. So the Indian MEA, the External Affairs Minister, have been very clear about this, that ships which are merchant ships or oil tankers, which are unarmed and may or may not be carrying Indian citizens, should not be attacked.
Absolutely. And this is now coming across as a clarification from the Ministry of External Affairs that there has been no such strike on a 4th foreign flagged ship. 3 attacks so far that has now happened, and this has been raised with the U.S. counterpart. But the twist that is now coming in is from President Trump himself, because now he seems to be blaming the strike that has happened on foreign flagged ships on Iran. He says that Iran totally rebuffed a drone attack against Indian ships leaving Hormuz Strait, which is totally unacceptable, and they better get their act together and fast. However, this is in contradiction to his own military CENTCOM, which has acknowledged striking and disabling at least 3 Indian crewed ships near the Gulf of Oman this week, and the US forces also shared a video of Hellfire missiles hitting one of the ships. So President Trump, however, insists that the attacks were carried out by Iranian drones, but this is something which Iran too has dismissed the accusation. Let's put out exactly what Iran also has to say on this, because Srinjoy, how does one actually understand the situation? Strikes have happened, people have lost their lives, Indian nationals were involved in this, unfortunately becoming an indirect part of this conflict, which is not ours. But who do we actually put the blame on? Now, US CENTCOM has actually shared pictures of the strikes that has been carried out.
Yes, and President Trump has said that these could have been done by the Iranians. So that is what President Trump is saying today. We don't know if he will come up with further evidence about it, if he has information about it, which shows, or visuals, which shows Iranians, whether it's drones, whether it's warships, attacking these merchant ships.
Yes, because Iran has also responded. So we'll put out, as far as this blame game is concerned, and the questions that President Trump now seems to be raising on Iran, saying and calling it to be a reported drone attack. Iran has now called these accusations to be as simply baseless, and saying this is a statement coming in from Iran and India, where the embassy says that this is an attempt to divert public attention from the brutal fact that the US has attacked 3 Indian vessels in less than a week and has killed 3 innocent Indian sailors, and that is pathetic. So this is coming in from Iran in India, which now seems to be putting the blame back on President Trump, saying that this is an attempt to divert. Well, Srinjoy, looking at these developments there, again, the question really arises, who is to be blamed and who is to be held accountable for that? US military, yes, but actually were they shooting down Iranian drones that led to these strikes? We don't know.
This is another fog of peace situation. We've been hearing this phrase fog of war for decades. But this actually, now that there is a ceasefire in place and all this is still happening, this has to be called fog of peace. And this clearly are signs of, this is a he said, because this, while there is a ceasefire, the situation is not normal. And there are forces there, there are people with weapons there, people are shooting at each other, and this is a result of a situation when there is no concrete peace. So in these circumstances, such things some people will say that such things are inevitable. Here are two groups of people, armed, very well armed, and trying to stop other people from doing other things.
Yes.
And at that point, 3 or 4 or many more civilian ships, basically merchant ships, tankers, are in the way.
So 3 attacks that have now happened, as far as the 4th not being confirmed, and that is not true. And that is a clarification that is coming from the MEA. However, was it when it comes to the U.S. Navy conducting these strikes on foreign flagged vessels? Well, this is something which President Trump, however, seems to be shifting the blame on the United States. But putting out another breaking update, because the U.S. CENTCOM's another big claim is coming that Iran launched drone attacks. And U.S. is now claiming that Iranian drone attack that happened in the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran was actually attempting to strike commercial ships. And this was a response that came in from the U.S. side, which may have struck as far as these foreign flag commercial vessels are concerned. So the Iranian drones have been drowned in the Strait of Hormuz, and this is now coming on part of the U.S. military or the U.S. Central Command. So developments there taking place, but unfortunately the fact remains that 3 Indian seafarers have unfortunately been killed in these strikes. We're going to head into a spot.